Hey guys, you're watching or listening to the Shift Training Podcast,
where we talk about personal growth, we talk about physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health, and just overall well-being.
And today we're going to be talking about guilt, shame, embarrassment, and humiliation. So let's get started.
Let's begin. Let's start defining what guilt is. For me, I believe guilt is a belief of being perfectionist. You know, you want to be perfect all the time. And it stems from you want to compare yourself to other people instead of just being compassionate.
Or compare yourself to your ideal self.
It's a good one. And guilt isn't necessarily a bad emotion, just like envy, jealousy, anger, all those emotions. It is a guide or a compass for us to become a better version of ourselves. So let's use myself as an example. I recently started hot yoga, and during this class,
don't mind our sirens, it happens.
It happens as part of it. So during this class, there's this specific move that I was trying to do, but I couldn't do it. So I guilt myself. I feel so guilty that I couldn't do it. But keep in mind that this is my first class. But I failed to realize that most of the moves that I've done, I was able to do it. But that one move that I was trying to do, I couldn't do it. And I feel guilty. And that's because I was trying to be perfect. I wanted to try in the first day. I wanted to be dead on, do everything right. You know what I mean?
Now, when you were experiencing that, would you say you felt guilty, like you fell short of hitting a particular standard, or did you feel shame, like you were concerned about what other people thought?
No, I just feel guilty on myself because like I'm sometimes hard on myself. Like, oh, I want to be perfect all the time. I want to be in this standard. That's why I feel guilty.
Unreasonable standards.
Exactly. So guilt is focused on your behavior. You know, I made a mistake, but I can correct that. You know?
Right. And shame, like I was touching on just a second ago asking, shame is more so tied to the concern about outward appearance. Shame is someone telling you, no, that's bad, mm-hmm. or fear of that being the case, or someone condemning you for something that you did. So you make a mistake, you don't even feel guilty about it. Yeah, it's like whatever, but you were a little concerned that someone's going to say something to you, so maybe you even hide it. You know, hiding is a usual common response to shame. But usually when we feel ashamed, it's concern about the external. It's the outworld. It's someone else's opinion, what they're going to say, how they're going to respond to what we did. And there are times where you can feel guilty and feel no shame, and times where you can feel ashamed and have no guilt. Guilt is focused on your more so internal values, your behavior, it's you. Oh. Shame is them.
Okay, so I thought that shame was more like this intense, painful feeling or experience.
It can be.
Because you believe that you're flawed, therefore you have this unworthy of getting love or belonging to other people.
Exactly, that's true.
Yeah.
But belonging to other people, the concern or focus is still...
It's still on self as well, right? Like
it's
focus on your...
You think there's something wrong with you, so they won't approve of you. Not, I feel like there's something wrong and it's because I did something, so let me make it better for me. This is not aligned with my values. That's guilt.
Mm-hmm. And that shame, I think it could branch out to aggression, addiction, bullying, and so on.
Yeah, usually hiding. Usually hiding is the main one. Yeah, when we have shame around something, we hide it. When someone pokes it, we get angry. You know, we defend it because we don't want to be seen.
Oh,
you know,
shame,
it's trying to hide in the dark.
Oh, it's a fear.
Yeah, that's why Brene Brown says vulnerability helps you bring that forward, so that way the light will get it, and you can't. It won't have power over you anymore, or to have less power over you. So, and I guess we already answered the next question, which is what is the key difference between guilt and shame? And it's basically guilt is relevant to your internal values and that alignment, and shame is that concern with others.
Right.
The not belonging or not being worthy versus guilt. I feel guilty that I didn't do my best, or I feel guilty because I think what I did was wrong. I think what I did was wrong. Not I'm afraid that someone else is going to tell me that I did something wrong.
Yeah.
I think that I did something wrong.
Right. So guilt is like saying, I made a bad mistake, and then shame would be I'm a mistake.
Yeah. Or I'll be viewed as a mistake. Yeah. What I did will be viewed as a mistake by other people. So with that in mind, let's touch briefly on embarrassment and humiliation. We're not going to spend a lot of time on these, but because they're related to guilt and shame, I want to talk about embarrassment and humiliation. So sometimes, and again, embarrassment, we talk about embarrassment kind of stemming from shame. I would say that's like shame times 10 is embarrassment, and it's a very public and you want to hide your face kind of deal. But it's usually, oh my God, I hope nobody saw that. You know, very quick. Oh, no. Or, oh my, you know, very quickly, or at least in Western culture, there's different ways to express that, right? But embarrassment is kin to shame. And
but it's a quick one, and it's not really bad.
Right. You can be embarrassed regarding anything that, you know, you don't think you meet this bar and everyone's going to have something to say about it, whatever it may be. And it's not going to be one person kind of shaming. It's going to be like a group shaming. And that's what makes it way worse. That's where the embarrassment usually situations where, you know, there's multiple people who would find out, or someone that means the world to you, you're going to be embarrassed that they see this non-perfect you kind of deal.
But I think that the humiliation part is the one that's 10 times worse.
Yeah, humiliation's the worst. Brene Brown said something along the lines of, in bullying and school shootings, shame is one thing, and, you know, being shamed or shame itself is not what causes the school to get shot up, basically. It's humiliation. And humiliation is where this embarrassment or constant shaming happens, but you don't feel like you deserve it. When you're embarrassed, you're like, oh my God, I did this. Like you feel like you did something embarrassing. You played a role in it. Humiliation is basically someone taking your name, your image, your face, whatever it is, and dragging it through the mud. Everyone's participating, and you are like, but I'm innocent. I did nothing wrong. And they just keep getting it. That sense of injustice, this isn't fair. I don't deserve this.
Yeah, it's the accumulation of all those bad or negative.
That's the humiliation part. It's literally being shoved down and humiliated by others.
Yeah, this reminds me of the movie Joker and what happened to him.
Oh man,
I think that's a good
that's a good example of humiliation right there. You know, there's some shame and there's some other things, but yes, it's a great example because he didn't feel like he deserved that behavior. He didn't deserve to be treated that way. So that's where the humiliation comes in. When you have all this shaming and stuff happening to you, like, I don't deserve that, that's humiliation. You're going to feel humiliated, just dragged through the mud. So we just want to touch briefly on embarrassment and humiliation because that stems from shame. I think a little bit of guilt, but mostly shame, I think. How can I better understand or navigate guilt?
Navigate or understand guilt? I think one way is having a journal and a paper and list out all the guilt lists that you have in your mind. And I think the reason for that is just releases that tension from your head. And you become more self-aware on whatever it is that you're guilty about and turn that guilt into growth. You know, some people, they set up unrealistic goals for themselves just because they saw like a celebrity working out 4 a.m. all the way to 6 to 7 a.m. and they thought to be successful, they should do the same thing. But that might be inconvenient for you. You know, it's not realistic for you because of your schedule or whatever it is that's going through your life. Maybe the afternoon or the night is the best time for you as long as you are consistent. You know?
So having that list will help you really see those areas, and then you can more so separate from that feeling of guilt and just kind of see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And be
and
like,
also they're comparing themselves, you know,
Right.
like those individuals that are like have this all success, and so instead of like focusing on yourself, what would be realistic for you.
right. But they want to take if they make the list is so they can see what they're saying,
Yeah.
what those triggers are for guilt.
Exactly. And I think another thing is turn guilt into gratitude. I think for most people, if they feel guilty for the most part of their days, their weeks, or whatever it is, I think that they are lacking perspective, you know? I think if they turn it to have more gratitude, that will turn their life in a completely different way. You know, an example, maybe me eating a candy bar, you know, just one candy bar in a day.
He'll be done.
Yeah, and I feel so guilty. Why did I eat that after I ate it? You know, and what I failed to realize is like maybe I eat nutritious food like vegetable, fruits, you know, lean meats. Those 80-90% of my diet or my nutrition is good, but I'm so focused on the candy bar. I was lacking of perspective. And
Didn't have gratitude for the candy bar, man. You gotta have gratitude for the candy bar.
Yeah, but it made me feel guilty. But at the same time, I need to be grateful that I've been eating 90%. The 10% is bad, you know, but still grateful.
Yeah, I think you should just be grateful for the candy bar. I think the direct connection for me is I feel guilty about eating this candy bar. You know what? I'm grateful that I get to eat this candy bar.
Hey, there you go.
I'm glad that I get to eat this candy bar. I do a lot of other good stuff. You know what? I'm gonna enjoy this candy bar. I'm glad I get to have this right now because you know what?
That's right.
A lot of other people could not be doing this right now.
Exactly. People can't even have a candy bar in their days, you know?
Some of them are so stuck in their discipline that they don't get to have the candy bar. They won't let themselves enjoy it.
That's true. I agree 100%.
Yeah, so I think that's good. With guilt, the way that I would say to navigate that is I would say to kind of like what you're saying is writing a list, but instead of a list of the specific things you feel guilty about, I would say that you could write out a list of your values, like what actually matters to you. And sometimes values and belief systems don't always line up. So that's something you got to watch out for. But writing out your list of values and seeing if that guilt that you're experiencing actually aligns with any of that. Because maybe you're not experiencing guilt. Maybe you have a fear of shame. So you're kind of guilting yourself because you're afraid of shame or experiencing shame. I don't know, but I think you should look at your values and see if what you're feeling guilty about is actually violating those values. And then if so, then make an adjustment, do better next time, you'll be proud of yourself. You know, making those adjustments, I think that's a natural thing with guilt. You feel guilty about something, if it's actually aligned with your values, what's it supposed to do? Help you to adjust and get back in line with your values.
Yeah.
So I think if you honor that, it will serve its purpose. And anything that you don't really value will probably persist and continue to happen. So you might as well learn how to make your peace with it and no longer feel guilty about it. Because honestly, you might not even value it. You might feel guilty about it because someone else told you this is the way it should be. This is bad. And you're going, yeah, it's bad. But in your world and the way that you live, you couldn't care less.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of values, I think an example that came to my mind is usually you just need that quality time for your partner or anybody that you want to spend time with. And they think that quantity is better than the quality time. Sometimes we feel bad because we're not spending time with this person or your partner, your family member. But sometimes all you need is like that 20 minutes of quality time with this person. You don't have to spend the whole entire week sometimes.
Put that phone away.
Yeah, put that phone away, you know. The one that I remember what we used before is that this couple where they went to a restaurant, you know, they think they're gonna spend some quality time or like they're gonna be connected, but as soon as they get to the restaurant, they both on their phones. So there's this, they're physically present, but mentally absent. So there's no quality time. So you might feel guilty at that time where, you feel guilty because you didn't really spend some time, you know, like a dad and the basketball or maybe baseball, you know, like the dad's going to go there, but as soon as he sat down on the bench, he just opened a newspaper. So there's no quality time in there. You feel guilty. Yeah.
Yeah. Just physically present, but not actually connected.
Yeah.
Yep. So 100%. So yeah, when dealing with guilt, how to navigate that, write out a list of all the things you feel guilty about and really assess that, or write out your values and see if where that guilt aligns. I think in real time, just ask yourself, why do I feel guilty about this? And just spend time with that. Where does that come from? Why do I? Well, because I should have. Who said you should have? Oh, well, I learned this one. Okay, but is that how you want to live your life? Does that matter to you now? Is that realistic for you now? Just those few questions like that, and just spend a moment. And that in itself might help you shift gears, shift perspective about whatever you're feeling guilty. So our next question is, how can I better understand or navigate shame?
How can we better understand or navigate shame? I think I will have the similar answer. I think it all comes down to like self-awareness, like you said, asking that question. Sometimes when we feel shame on ourselves, when we catch ourselves talking down or like making statements, and we need to ask ourselves, are these statements or questions serving us? If it's not, then we have to change those narratives.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. A lot of shame comes from, childhood trauma more often than anything. It's just afraid of being seen as not perfect, or they're gonna bat the finger at you, or in some cases of extreme, like if you experience abuse in your life, there's that fear of abuse. That's legitimate. That's a response based on trauma. But shame in itself, just specifically shame, not even going that far into that. This is gonna sound silly, but you need to put more value into your own word and your own, more your word and what you value in your own life. Your opinion should mean like so much more. Your opinion of yourself and your life and how you operate, because it will be you and you until your very last breath, but there's no guarantee that whoever's shaming you is in your life till your very last breath. So I would say the voice you hear the most is going to be the one that plays in your head. Now you can let it be someone else's voice, or you can add more value to yours and let it be your voice. Let yourself stay connected. So I would say that's something worth practicing. I think the best way to navigate shame is to understand where it comes from for you in your past. Work on releasing that while adding more value or more weight to your own word. Understanding that I can't continue to think like this because it's harmful and destructive to myself. And I don't want that. I want to love myself. I want to believe in myself. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to earn the credit. I'm going to give myself those things. And the way that I'm presenting that as if there will be a struggle, as if there will be a fight. And sometimes people don't understand. You will have to fight for your healing sometimes. You will have to fight to give yourself the love that sometimes you deny yourself. And that's a big thing, especially if you're used to people pleasing, if you're stuck in that cycle and shame is a regular part of how you function. In order to change, like if this energy is like, all right, we're pushing, I don't know, let's pretend like weight. You're doing 100 pounds of energy. It's going to take you at least 100 pounds just to get neutral. It's going to take you pushing 120 or more to really break that cycle. You need to put in more energy to get out. So yes, it will be kind of a fight. It will be stressful. It will take a lot of intentional, specific effort. So keep that in mind. You have to want it. So cultivate the I want it and then fight for it.
Yeah, it will be uncomfortable, but at the end of that tunnel, it's where you feel more peace in your life.
Yes, you will definitely be on a much better track, I think. I think that's it for guilt, shame, embarrassment, and humiliation. Is there anything else?
I think that's it for us.
All right, cool, guys. So if you would please like, subscribe, follow all the things, share with a friend. If you found this entertaining, useful in any way, shape, or form, we'd greatly appreciate it. It would help us on our vision, our mission, which is basically to help positively impact the quality of human interaction by helping people better connect with themselves so they can better connect with others. Okay, so if that's something you dig, you're down for, like I said, like, subscribe, follow, rate, review, all the good things, and we hope you have a fantastic day.